We're going to start with significant developments on Steve Cooper's future. The Nottingham Forest manager is expected to be sacked if his side loses a fifth Premier League game in a row when they travel to Wolves on Saturday. Well, our senior reporter, Rob Dorsett, has joined me on set. Now, is it as stark as that? Lose and you're gone?
I think in truth it is. I mean, look, you can read this as a positive, Mike, because Forest have been in pretty dreadful form. And my understanding is that Steve Cooper will be in the dugout for Saturday's crucial game at Molineux against Wolves. But I've been told that there's a widespread expectation at the City ground, and that expectation is felt as well by the manager himself, that he would not be able to survive a fifth straight league defeat, and that inevitably that would lead to a change in the manager. Specifically, the people I've been speaking to have told me they feel there's a malaise in the squad. The club hierarchy increasingly feeling that fresh ideas are needed. There's been a difference of opinion, I'm told, between the coaching staff and some of the players over recent tactics. And Forest bosses fear that Cooper is becoming increasingly worn down and frustrated by what's happening at the club. And I don't necessarily just mean the results, which is obvious. But the more difficult ways that he's finding to work there. And the stats, Mark, are pretty dreadful, aren't they? Let's be honest. 4 straight defeats, 5 defeats in their last 6. We ought to point out that one game that they didn't lose was a really impressive 2-0 win over Aston Villa, who were flying, just beating Manchester City. 1 win in 11, though, is worrying, I think, from a Forest perspective. The thing is, though, they're still 16th. They're still 6 points above the relegation places. So I don't think there's any need to panic from Evangelos Marinakis, the owner, alongside you. But he does worry at the direction in which this is going. And the thing is, after surviving relegation last season, the expectations were much higher this season. Remember, they spent an awful lot of money in summer. They brought 8 new signings in the last 24 hours of the transfer window. There's been big investment for Steve Cooper. They expected to be in the top half of the Premier League rather than down towards the wrong end of the table. That's where the pressure is coming. And we heard from Steve Cooper earlier on today doing his pre-match news conference ahead of that Wolves game. And I think he was quite resolute in saying that I still expect to be here, I still want to be here. But have a listen, because he bowed to the inevitable, admits that he is under significant pressure right now.
I've not spoken to him. I've spoken to Mildos after the game on the phone, and that was a conversation about the game. To be honest, I saw Ross, I saw Koulis after the game, and that's that. I've not heard of anybody else. Obviously, we're back in early this morning for press, and we'll carry on with our day's work.
You know, you've had to be, uncomfortable questions have had to be asked about your job and speculation, and clearly that mounted after the performance and result last night. Yeah. Do you feel like you are fighting to save your job, that if Saturday's result could be crucial in that?
Well, I don't think like that. I think that's not a good way to think. It's like saying to a player, you have to play well in the next game, or you won't play again for the club. So it's just not a thought process I believe in using. Of course we're disappointed with the results, and particularly the one last night, and the performance, evenly so. But more than ever, you've got to show belief, you've got to show character, and belief in character in what you want to be and who you are and what you stand for.
But Rob, feels like we've been here before. They've stuck with him before, so why would this be any different?
Well, I think they really like him and really admire him. I mean, just hearing from Steve Cooper there, it's hard not to like him. He's very honest. He's a very good coach. He's done a fantastic job for Nottingham Forest. Remember, he's got them into the Premier League for the first time in 23 years with a quite incredible performance when they never looked like they were going to get there. So I think the owners and certainly the fans remember that. But you're right, Mike, they have shown an awful lot of backing to him. Let me take you back to April, when Forest were above the relegation places last season, only on goal difference. They hadn't won in 8. And Evangelos Marinakis, the owner, came out and gave him a really public show of support, saying he wanted to end the speculation and the false and disruptive reporting. He did, though, say that results needed to improve immediately. And let's be honest, they did. Forest actually finished the season really, really well and ended up 4 points above the relegation places. So that was pretty comfortable in their first season back in the top flight. Even 7 days ago, it was made very clear to me, and to a number of other reporters, I think, as well, that he, Steve Cooper, still retained the backing of him, Evangelos Marinakis, the full support of. So what's changed in the last 7 days? Look, I think it's not just the fact that they've lost 2 more games. It's that heavy defeat against Fulham last night. But it's this wider feeling that, not that he's losing the dressing room, but that things are going in the wrong direction and that there is a malaise in the squad and things aren't going in the way that Steve Cooper wants. And is he the right man to change it? Can he change it? I think it's significant that he still retains a support of the majority of Nottingham Forest fans. I think you have to say this is D-Day for Steve Cooper now. He knows it. He's not a stupid man. He said that today. He's very intelligent and he's done a great job. But he knows results aren't good enough. A 5-0 defeat away at Fulham is going to hurt. It's going to sound the alarm to a large extent, especially on the run that they're on. So, one game to save his job. A lot of people at Forest would like him to win that game at Molineux on Saturday so that he can get out of this mess. But I think Steve Cooper and a lot of the other staff and players know that it's probably very unlikely he will survive if they would lose 5 out of 5.
Wow. Rob Dorsett, our senior reporter. Great. Thank you very much for that.